I still remember the day in 2004 when my father had a catastrophic stroke. The year that followed was incredibly difficult for him, for my mother who cared for him, and for the rest of us. Today in Ireland, around 600,000 people are living with cardiovascular conditions. These include stroke, coronary heart disease, and high blood pressure. Together, they account for about 36% of all deaths. But here is the hopeful part. There's clear evidence that everyday lifestyle choices, especially food, can play a huge role in how healthy your heart and arteries are. I'm nutritional therapist Anna Collins, and I help people make simple, practical changes that make a difference. Today, I want to walk you through findings from 5 well-known studies published in prestigious medical journals, looking at how dietary patterns compare with one particular type of medication in supporting cardiovascular health. Before we get into the studies, here's something many people don't realize. Your gut health influences multiple markers linked to cardiovascular well-being, including blood pressure, inflammation, and cholesterol metabolism. So what you eat does not just affect your digestion, it also impacts your heart. So let's talk about the 5 studies showing a simple diet heart health pattern. Researchers compared 2 main approaches: standard statin therapy, cholesterol lowering medication, and a Mediterranean style dietary pattern. This way of eating typically includes lots of vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, beans and pulses, fish, olive oil, and whole grains, while being lower in refined products, factory made foods. They looked at 2 groups: people without diagnosed cardiovascular disease and people already diagnosed with a cardiovascular condition. For people without diagnosed disease, statins reduced absolute risk of cardiac events by around 1%. In contrast, eating a Mediterranean style diet showed a reduction in absolute risk of 30%. Absolute risk is different from relative risk. To explain relative risk, you might have a 1% probability of a health event. If you do an intervention that reduces your relative risk by 50%, then your risk is now 0.5%, a very modest gain. But absolute risk is different. It tells you the raw likelihood of an outcome, independent of other groups. For example, if 20 out of 100 people develop a disease, the absolute risk is 20%. Today, we're talking about absolute risk, and that is meaningful for people. For people with existing cardiovascular conditions, statins were linked to around an 18% reduction in risk of heart-related events or mortality. But eating a Mediterranean diet showed even greater reductions, averaging 76%. I've included the references to the 5 studies in the description below. And watch to the end for a free one-time bonus. If you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe so you can get more practical, evidence-informed health guidance.